Well, hey guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome to my stream and another chapter working on this guy right there. That's our GMC Syclone by Revell. It's 124th or 125th scale model kit. I think it's 125th. Yeah, it's 125th scale. We're gonna roll the intro. We'll get going. Okay? I'll roll the intro. Roll it. Roll the intro, please. Roll the intro. No, like just... Can you do it? Roll the intro. No. No, I don't care. Just do it. Just roll it. Roll the intro. Wait, roll the... Oh, we're back. We're back, and you can see I got some tools on my desk here because a few days ago we did the clear coat on this guy. That was the 2K clear. That's this stuff here, the car rep that I got on Amazon. It's a 2K clear coat. It has the activator inside of it, so you don't have to worry about any kind of a shelf life. You don't have to press any kind of an activator thing on the bottom here. It's got it in there. This stuff works great. I've had this, I used this once. I used it on my 67 Shelby, and that was a few months ago, and I just did it again on our GMC Syclone, and it looks great. Alright, so the only thing that we have to do now is we got to polish it a little bit to get rid of a few little dust spots. I've already done the hood. I'll change the camera. You can see a little bit better what this looks like now. Okay, let's go here. So here we have our body. As you can see, got a little bit of orange peel going on there, and a couple of little specks of dust. I mean, yeah, it's nice and glossy, but you do see that a little bit of orange peel. The sides don't look too bad. A little bit of polish will help on the sides. Maybe a little bit back here, just to get rid of some of that orange peel that we get. Right, same along here. But it is very nice, super gloss finish. And same with the tailgate. Tailgate could use a little bit of a spray. Could probably actually use a second coat on the tailgate, I think. I think the tailgate I neglected to do a second coat, so that could probably benefit from that. But yeah, so that's that. Let's take a look at the hood. The hood I already polished up a little bit. I'm not going for show quality finish on it, but that is looking really nice. You can see that's a nice clip. It's got a little bit of a little imperfection in it right there in the corner, but that's not going to be too bad. It is a model kit after all. I'm not looking to put this in any kind of competition, so yeah, it's just super glossy and it's really nice and smooth and it looks great. That's going to look really good sitting on the shelf. So yeah. So what have we got here? I got two types of polishing compound. I've got the Tamiya Fine. That's going to help me to get rid of the dust and the orange peel. And then I've got Tamiya's polishing compound. Obviously I've used this a lot more because I use this stuff to clean up the seat lines on my aircraft canopies and stuff like that. Not that I keep any canopies around, you know. Peas usually come in a bag, not a can. Although there are canned peas, right? I probably got canopies in my cupboard right now. What am I using to polish? This guy here, my handy router Mark 1. Okay, and then I got on Amazon. I got a little bag of all these little sanding discs. It comes in a bag like this, a whole bunch of different compounds. 10,000 grit, 5,000, 3,000, all the way down to like 60 grit. 187 pieces, 1-inch sanding, drill grinder, rotary tools. New, made in China. Yeah, comes with a couple of different sponge things to put on. These are Velcro. Just a Velcro thing. This is just like some kind of a little sponge spacer for some reason. I don't know why they include that, but it's there. So we get two of these ones. This is just an orange sponge. This one here would probably be really good for polishing. This is like a fabric, very, very soft fabric. on this. So that would probably be great for polishing. But I'm not really interested in that right now. Anyway, so like I said, I've already done the hood. So we're going to take this and we're going to start working on the body. So first things first, we'll get this off of our little stand. And I kind of don't want to interfere with the... I'm tempted to take the masking tape off, but I don't think I need to. Anyway, so we're going to start with the fine. We're going to start on the roof. Okay? So, we'll just put a little blob on there. That's probably way more than I need. Probably. And I'll just kind of take it and... Sorry, I'm limited here because it's not cordless. So let's untangle myself here. There we go. We're going to take it and kind of smear it around a little bit. And now that I've done that, as soon as I fire this thing up, it's going to want to splatter, and I want to prevent that. So I'm going to put it down in my garbage can and turn it on. Okay, I'm at absolute minimum speed, which means you can't press hard. And I'm just going to let it do its thing and roll it around on here. Be careful not to go too hard on the edges because you'll burn right through your clear. You don't want to do that. Keep in mind your angles. I'm not really pressing hard. I don't want the speed to really slow down. I'm using the speed to my advantage. You know, how many more, rotations are you going to get compared to what you do by hand? So with it all pretty much done, that's it. We'll give it a wipe with my microfiber cloth here, and we'll just have a look at it. So I still have a little bit of dust right in the middle there, and still got some orange peel. You can see it's slightly improved, but not enough, right? So we're going to go on it again. Put a little bit more. And we'll do this a couple of times. Okay, same thing. Absolute minimum rotation, minimum power. Just go slowly over it here, back and forth. Again, we're just letting it do its thing. On the edges a little bit. Like that. I do want to focus a little bit in the center here where that dust spot was, so I want to make sure I get it. It's right there. See how that looks now. This little white. Okay, that's looking better. Much better. You can still see a little bit, it's not the greatest, but that's where our polishing compound, the finish, comes in handy. Okay, put a dab of that on there. This around, and again. slow. Just let it do its work. Let it do its job. Nice and simple. I'll probably do this twice. You see how it kind of stopped? It's because I'm pressing too hard. Okay, let's have a look at this. Wipe this off. It's looking a little smoother. Get that angle on there. She's looking smoother. I think another, you can almost see reflection. You can see reflection of my microphone and stuff in there. It looks nice. To look at this with the naked eye, I can still see a little bit of a dust spot right in the center, and that's a little disappointing. So another thing we can try and do is do a little manual work. Okay, so put that down and actually use your microfiber cloth, because with the microfiber cloth you can kind of rub it in the exact spot that you need, and you can put a little pressure on there. Buff that out. I'm going to go back to our fine. I want to get rid of that dust spot. That is going to bug me to no end if I don't get rid of that dust spot. So I'm going to go back to our fine. Another thing you could do if it's really bad, if you've like really cooked in a speck of dust, maybe you didn't notice it and you put your second coat of clear on there, you could always resort to wet sanding it. I want to buff that out in the center there. I'm going to use disc again. I want to get that spot gone. You know, I had a spot of dust on the hood and it buffed out and that disappeared on me. This one obviously is a little more stubborn. Oh, I don't want to do this. I want to focus on that piece of dust right there. For a moment there, I thought I got it. No. She's stubborn. That's a stubborn piece of dust. Also, you know, 2K clear is pretty hard, especially after a couple of days. But with a little diligence and some patience, we can get rid of that. And I think we're there. I think I got it. So I'll just do a little bit around everywhere else, just for continuity. We don't want to focus on only burning through that area. So, but there we go. Okay. So I'm just going to do this. You can see how it's turning black. It's because we're burning into the paint layers. And we want to be really careful with that. So finally we're going to touch it up. That dust is now gone. We're going to do our fine. Now that I know that I've burned through that layer of clear that was protecting that dust spot, we're going to be careful. Okay, I'm going to be really careful now. Very lightly. We're just focusing on softening this up. There we go. Let's have a look. Wipe this clean. And I would say that is very, very acceptable. You can see there's a little bit of a hot spot in the center there where the dust was, but I like that much more than a big piece of dust. There we go. Yeah, I kind of went through the clear a little bit. There's a little bit of a... Yeah, that bugs me almost more than the dust. You can see that there. I might wind up masking this thing off and just spray painting the roof at the same time that I do the back, the tailgate, because the tailgate is really rough looking. It's like I didn't get enough of a coat on it, and it's really rough. The rest of the body just needs a little bit of tidying up. Get rid of the get rid of some of the orange peel that's on there. So we're going to rub this around, smear it on all good. There we go. All right, lots on there now. You got to be careful with things like the door handles and any kind of details that stick out, because it would be really easy to just burn right through the edge of the paint that's right on the edge of it, and you don't want to do that. That's not the purpose here. That's not what we're going for. We're not trying to burn through paint. You know, as nice as the 2K clear is, it's not, you know, it's not indestructible. And in this case, we're not really trying to do too much on the sides. We're just trying to smoothen it out a little bit where you're going to see it the most. So especially along the big panels, you know, smooth that out a little bit. Okay, I'll do a little bit on the top here of the rail. Kind of along this edge here where the molding is going. Okay. And along here. All right. Let's have a look at it. I already know that's going to look a lot better than it did, but it's not perfect, and we're not done. Still quite a bit of orange peel going on in there. All right, we're pretty good up front here, but definitely along this panel here, we get to show you in the different light. You can see it's just not that great, right? I mean, the shininess to it is not that great, especially compared to that shininess on the hood, on the roof. But, you know, that roof, that pisses me off. So, yeah, this looks okay, but I think we can do another round on it. Let's just smoothen this up a little bit better. this buffed up. Get rid of our orange peel. Nice and slow. This angle too. There is a bit of a temptation to want to press hard on this, but of course pressing hard basically causes your buffing wheel to stop working altogether, so it kind of defeats the purpose when the wheel stops spinning. Or it's spinning so slow you might as well be doing it by hand. This isn't the purpose of using the wheel, the electronic device, a motorized wheel to eliminate having to do it by hand. Isn't that the whole point? But then you press so hard on it, it's so slow, it's not really worth it. I think we're at a point where I could do the fine on it now, or the finishing, I mean. I think it's looking pretty good, at least to my eye with it. Let's see, it might not be show quality smooth, but it's better. I'm going to hit it with the finishing compound and we'll see how it looks. Okay, so let's get our lid back on this one and get our finisher. Put some drops of this all over. Good. This is, you know, finishing the looks on our car bodies, it's something I never used to really try and do very much when I was younger, when I was a kid, building models. I just kind of, I'd paint them and that was it. And I'd just kind of leave it. And whatever finish came out, that's the way it was. Now, of course, I care a little bit more about how the finish comes out, especially after seeing, you know, you watch guys on YouTube and how they get these things looking like glass. And, you know, it's like, you know what? I want to try that. I want to do it myself. So you try and find some technique that is going to work and that you can actually do yourself. I find this with the rotary tool, yeah, this is easy enough to do. It's just a matter of having a bit of patience, taking your time with it. I've seen guys use actual, like, polishing compounds for real automotive and stuff like that. I don't think that's really necessary. I think the hobby products are good enough. Although the automotive stuff, you're going to get a much bigger container for the same price or even cheaper sometimes. You know, our hobby products sometimes are a little bit overpriced for what they are. I believe that to be true. Okay, I think I'm almost ready to say good enough for the side. Let's see here. So there's our side. I think that's good enough. That's smoothened up a lot of the orange peel on the side and made it a lot more smooth. There is still a little bit, but like I said, I'm not going for show quality. I'm going for something that's going to look really cool on the shelf. I mean, look at the angle that you're going to look at this on. You're going to look at it like this, right? You're going to see it like this kind of angle. You're not really going to see that much of it when it's sitting on the shelf. It may be a good little thing like that. You're going to see that, and that's going to look fine. I look at this from about, you know, my distance here, maybe about a foot away. This thing looks great, right? I am going to take this. I want to take the tailgate out just because I want to do it separate. That's going to be easier. Okay, so you compare the sides. Here's this one and how smooth that looks on this side, okay, without polishing. Yeah, it doesn't look perfect, especially right in here. Can I fix that? Can I polish that up a little bit better? I think I could, right? We compare it to this side, which hasn't been touched, and this is a lot worse, right? This is a lot worse looking. So, yeah. Okay, let's go back to our find. In fact, you know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to do the other side off camera. Okay, I'm going to do the other side, get that done, then I'm going to repaint the roof and the tailgate because they look awful. I want to polish up the tailgate a little bit and then put another coat on it. And I'm going to mask off everything except the roof, and I'm going to redo the roof because I burned through that, and that's terrible. It even feels a little off because I burned through it. So I want to do that. So that's where I'm going to leave it for now. We're going to come back later once this is all done, and we're going to continue on the build, okay? So we'll see you guys in a little bit. We're back. It's been a few days, and so I did a few things. Although a few being very few. what I did was I sanded down, I wet sanded the roof, and I reapplied another 2 layers of the clear, the 2K clear on the roof, so that I got a decent looking shine on it now. Okay. The other thing I did, I feel like something is loose here. It could be my connection between the cab and the box, because it is a bit flimsy. It's only held on by these 2 things. Anyway, so yeah, I redid that, and so that's been sitting. I also redid the tailgate. Tailgate has a little bit of dust right there in one little spot. I'm not too concerned about it because the tailgate is definitely not the focus of the truck, right? So what I do need to do is just kind of polish this roof section down, especially these edges, because I did mask it off along there. You can feel a little bit of a ridge where the masking tape was, so I need to file that down. Well, not filed it down, but to sand it down and get that cleaned up. So we are going to go back with our little rotary tool, and we're going to work on that. So the first thing I want to do, because this has been dried for a few days, I actually want to rinse this off. I want to rinse this off and clean it up. And there's one thing that's kind of nice, because you just pull this off, okay, and then I'll go run it under some hot water, clean it up, and I'll be back in a minute, okay? Let me get my table out over here. That's great. Spray on my fit. Nice. Really nice. So we have it cleaned up, but I got to deal with this. Okay. All right, so we got this cleaned up, 90%. And the nice thing about it being a sponge is it dries pretty quick. You just put it in your paper towel, squeeze it a bunch of times, and you're good to go. All right. So let's get this back on my tool. That, line that up nicely, press it down. It's USB, so let's put it in our USB plug-in here, wherever that is. There we go. Yeah. You know, as much as you dry it out, it's still going to have some splatter. Okay, so once again, I'll change the camera here so you can see. Okay, so once again, we're going to start with our fine compound. We're going to just make sure there's no harsh dust. You can see there's a lot of dust that's collected in the bed of the box here. Good thing that's not a focal point of the truck. We're actually going to put the tonneau cover on this thing later. So just like last time, I'm going to spread this around a little bit, just like so. And then we're going to get rid of the excess. Okay, down to just about minimum. I discovered last time, not minimum, but just a little bit higher than minimum was a little bit better. We're just going to polish this up a little bit, in particularly on the sides. I want to get rid of that edge of paint. It's on the corner where the masking tape was. We're just going to burnish this in a little bit, particularly on the sides. I don't need a lot because it doesn't look like I really got any dust on it, so that's really good. Not any big pieces anyway. So just a little bit is all we're going to need. Focusing on the corners, really. Okay, have a look and have a feel here. A microfiber cloth, of course. Give it a wipe. Of course, it already looks better. Got a little bit of the edge still here, a little bit still here. Yeah, so we're going to keep working on that. So I'm going to put a little bit more. I'm actually going to move it around with my finger. That edge there. That edge there. Like this. I'll rub one out. I mean, rub it out. Rub it out. Rub one out. What's worse? I don't know. In either case, it's not what you're thinking. Okay. Get to a point where I can't feel that edge of the paint anymore, then I know I'm done. That means I've taken enough of the paint off to get it down to where it needs to be. And I think I'm there. I think I'm there, guys. Looks nice. Okay, now we're going to switch gears. Let's dab up any extra off of this. And we're going to switch to our finishing. And give this a nice little polish. Put this around. Give her a little polish. Okay. I think that's about it. I think that's all I need. I think I'm at a good spot right now. All right, let's have a look. Okay, that definitely looks better than it did before, and it definitely looks a lot better than when I had that piece of dust in there. Now, I've got some schmutz in the back of my tailgate I don't like, so while I've got a little bit of the polishing compound on there, or the finish compound, I'm just going to go through the back of here and just kind of give it a little bit. This is not really an important part, it doesn't really matter. But for the sake of completeness, I wanted to do that. Okay, we are done polishing this thing. With that finished, we are finally done. And you can see I've got some white, well, I've got white panel lines. Those need to be cleaned up. So, we're going to get some hot water, or at least warm water, okay? So once again, unfortunately, I got to step away for a second. Okay, so I got some hot tap water, and I'm going to use a toothbrush. This is I'm going to say it's a medium toothbrush. It's not super stiff, but it's going to help me to clean out all of our little panel lines in there. And if I'm smart, I'm going to put a paper towel down so I don't get water everywhere. And I'm just going to go in these edges and clean them up. Going along the panel lines. You know, on other kits, other models I've done, I haven't bothered to go in there and clean them out, and I just used some, like, to me, a panel liner. I'm not going in hard, I'm just going in very soft just to get the bristles in there so that we get it cleaned out. Anywhere there I've got some of that stuff, that polishing compound. And that little panel line. There we go. Clean them all out. Door frame there, back tailgate, rear bumper, around there. There we go. Okay, and that's all it takes. Dry this off. And with it dried off, we can work on something else. We can do something else. I didn't do the front, so I got to do the front. Forgot that. And I got a little spot back here. There we go. Should fit in here just to clean this up. Inside of our bed rails. And then there's also the front. Oh, I missed this little spot here around the door frame. The hot water just helps loosen it up. And I missed this little spot here. around the headlight bezel. Got a little stuck in the grill. Our little lights. By going lightly, I'm not going to risk scratching the paint, right? That's the whole reason why. I'm not using a super stiff brush, and I'm not pressing super hard. The whole idea is just to get the bristles in those little panel lines to kind of scoop it out from inside them. Right? That's the whole purpose. Don't go in super heavy-handed like you're trying to scrub, like you're actually brushing your teeth or anything, you know? You know, that's not the purpose. That's not the point of this. It's just to get rid of it. Pull it out from those little panel lines and stuff. That's all you have to do. And I think I got it. Nope, got a few spots on this side. As it dries and it comes back, you'll notice where you've missed. You have to go over it again. Could I just take my Tamiya black panel liner and go over it? Yes, you can do that too. And I've done that in the past. I just take the panel liner and go over it, and then you're good to go. But I would rather actually pull it out of the cracks and get in there with it. I do have some schmutz on this panel here for some reason. What is this? I don't know if this is a scratch or something I accidentally got on the paint. It's some kind of, it's almost like I got decal adhesive on my front fender somehow. Don't know how. I haven't been dealing with any stickers. Anyway, that's done. This side looks pretty good, like I'm done. Except for along this, right in there. My fairings, what you want to call it, ground effects, these don't seem to be attached very solidly, and that's one thing that's contributing to this thing feeling like it's not put together very well. I got some splattered on the underside here too. In our wheel wells. It's funny how you'll get some splatter that you don't even realize in all kinds of strange spots. You see, as I cleaned it up, I got some on the outside here. Some water's running down everywhere. It's a drawback to using water. So it brings it out of everywhere, and then it runs into different places. But yeah, okay, I think we're in a spot where it's all cleaned up pretty good and looking better. Clean out my fog lights. I should use a Q-tip in there. Clean these out, get them dry. See, still a couple of spots where I just might have to go in with our panel liner after all. Okay, I think we're there. With that done, we can pull out our masking tape from inside. And we masked off our interior here to protect it. From all of our painting, so get rid of this. There we go. Okay, we can unmask our headlights. I did mask these pretty good, so this could be a little bit difficult in getting the masking tape, convincing it to come off. But if we have to do one square at a time, then that's what we'll do. There we go. One done. One more piece. There we go. So headlights unmasked. Looking pretty good. Okay. We're going to unmask our tail lights. There's one. And two. Now it looks like we've got some rubbing compound stuck on them a little bit. Edges, so we'll clean that up. Okay, there we go, guys. So now the body's painted. We finally have the body painted, so we can refer back to our instructions. I'll move this water out of the way so I don't spill it. Okay. Let's refer back to our instructions. We were kind of at a point where, you know, we got to backtrack back here. We had our interior done. We put in our visors and our dome light. It's now time to put in the firewall. Okay, so we can do that. We can put the firewall in the cab and then put our interior bucket in. So remember, we added a few wires to our firewall and added a little bit of detail on there. And our firewall is going to fit, if we remember correctly, this little line right here right along there and right along here. These are going to line up with our back of our inner fender wells, and so right in here. Or if I tip this over, right along this line here and this line here. That's where it's supposed to line up. So let's drop that in there. Just kind of like that. It looks like there's a little notch. There's a little notch on the top of it right here, right in the center. A little notch right there. I stick my fingernail in the notch there. And that looks like it's supposed to line up with that little hole that's right there in the center. So you should be able to see that hole if you've got this lined up correctly. Which is really not that hard to do to get it lined up. It just kind of sits like that. And we're right up against there, and I can hold it in like that, and that's what we're going to look like under the hood. Just like that. So, I think we can safely put some glue on there and make this his new home. Let's see how I want to hold it. I'll do that. I'm gluing it from underneath because I want to preserve our paint under the hood. And I'm going to put a little run along underneath here. And there we go. And that should be good for our firewall installation. There really isn't any play or anything like that. It's not sliding around or anything like that. It's just where it is. So that is that. Firewall is in. The next step, of course, is our interior bucket. So here's our interior. And I got a little bit of spray from that's the problem with that polishing compound, is it splatters everywhere and nothing is safe. So I gotta make sure I've got no polishing compound on my dash or anywhere in the interior. So it's kind of going to ruin the aesthetics. Okay, that looks pretty good. So, we'll see. How does this actually sit in there? See, now we've got a challenge because I've got to spread this apart to fit it in. This, get our seats in there. Spread our doors open wide enough to fit it without, see, now that's not good. I think I'm going to have to let our firewall dry before attempting this, because the firewall just wants to come away from everything. So, we're going to have to wait as far as when we can put that in. Is there anything I can do in the meantime? Because I can't put the interior bucket back in. I can't put the interior in it until the firewall's dry. I can put my polishing compound away and get that off of here. let's have a look. I could do something like our tail lights. Tail light lenses are red, and we seem to have two options here. So they're calling out for number 108. So that would be these. So we have two styles here. One is a lens that's just a straight lens with nothing, and another lens that has two separated sections, where you've got a clear, like maybe these are the reverse lights. I'm going to say yes because they're at the bottom. Reverse lights are usually at the bottom. So they want us to use these ones with the separated sections. I am kind of curious. I'd like to see a picture of an actual Syclone, a real one, to see what the tail light lenses look like, whether they're using the great big one piece or that. And it looks like they are definitely using the big one piece. So, but this part needs to be painted white. That part's white. So I should have some white here. X2. Now, this being white, it's probably going to take multiple coats to get the coverage I want, to get it from looking pink to actually looking white. I stand corrected. It's gonna cover pretty good. It's not bad in one coat. My brush is leaving something to be desired. This brush sucks. Bristles sticking out everywhere. This is one instance where some bristle lines actually help a little bit, because there is a texture to the tail lights. If it's just plain white and super smooth, that takes away from the authenticity. What I don't like is how as soon as I go over it, it's revealing the red underneath. So I'm going to put a little bit on the inside too. Just to help with the opacity a little bit. I mean, it's still going to be red as the white reveals, but okay, there we go. We have our reverse lights. Let's clean up my brushes a little bit. What I should have done is do the other ones, make them smoked. I do have Tamiya's Smoke somewhere in my list of paints. Okay. Now, another thing I need to consider. These lights have a little bit of a frame around them, and that frame is supposed to be black. So, I'm going to use my LP1. That's going to match the black better. I'm going to have to do these in stages because I need to hold it while I paint it, obviously. So I'm going to pick a corner like that, and like that. I'm going to paint our frame. And we're actually going to paint this side of the frame too, because we don't want the red shining through, or not shining, but we don't want it revealing on the other side, other edges. In case this doesn't sit flush, we've got to make sure there's no red. The idea is to give the illusion that this is actually framed in a black frame. There we go. So we've got that. It's now in a black frame. Okay. Give this guy the same treatment. Okay, and we have our second one done. Okay, now with that, this should be dry enough. I should be able to, it's the beauty of Tamiya's paints is they dry so fast. I should be able to get in there on this side now, on that little corner that I missed. With the hair and everything. There we go. Alright, so those are done. And the time it takes me to clean my brush and put my little clips away, they should be dry enough to install. Alright, so take this guy, and I'm not sure which is left and which is right now. I'm going to do a little bit of trial and error, do a little test fit. It's possible that this is the right one. Let's try him on the other side here. Well, definitely that's the right side. And I'm glad that I painted the outside, the other side of the frame, like the top side and the back side of it, because it's, well, let's just say it sits out and proud a little bit, like it really is a frame sticking out. But we can glue that on now. So, a little dab of glue there, dab of glue here. Don't need too much, but we need enough that it's going to hold. Go in this angle right here. There we go. There we go. One tail light installed. Now let's check this other guy. He fits pretty much the same. It doesn't fit quite as well. He's in there though. Now I've got glue on this for a second. I'm going to give him a little push just to get him a little, see if he will line up a bit better. Seconds, and all of a sudden the part fits better. And there we go. He didn't really want to squeeze into his hole properly, but now with the glue in there a little bit, doing its job on that plastic, suddenly this one fits better. So there we go. Second tail light installed. We can put our tailgate back in. Remember, we had gone to the trouble of removing that. Actually, now that I've glued in the tail lights, I don't know if I trust that no glue has gone down in there into our little channel. Okay, let's get him. See, our bed has come away from the there we go. See, this is a little loose. That's okay, we'll get it all glued together once we get the chassis in there. Okay, our firewall should be dry enough that it's not going to pull away now that we've got our tailgate installed once again. Like I said, we should be able to get our interior in here without too much hassle. Try not to interfere with our firewall. There we go. We're almost there. And we're in. Okay, interior bucket is in. Feels like what it feels like is where it's connecting is right along the top of the door, which I don't want to go on there on that section with glue. But it definitely is touching on the back of the firewall, right in here. So I think that's where it needs to be glued. And maybe along this edge here, not here, but here, this front edge here is, I believe, is touching. Or maybe not, maybe only on one side. It's touching on this side for sure, but not here, this side. I can get my fingernail in here and it's not. It might be. It's definitely touching on the firewall though. So that's where we're going to glue. Along in there. Right there. On that edge. On this edge. And I might as well put the glue on there because that's where it's touching. Would I like to get glue on this side too? Yes. But I don't feel like it's really doing any. Don't think it's going to do anything there. Same with our rear firewall. Yeah, the seats are touching, but again, I don't want to put glue there. But there we go, our interior is in. So I feel like we're getting somewhere, guys. Okay. What is next? Interior bucket just went in. We put our tail lights on. We put our side panels on. Our tailgate is on. That's on. We put our reinforcement bars across here already. That's done. We got our tail lights in. We move on to the chassis. We got the wheels on, right? Those are on, and they're looking pretty. Chassis is a rolling chassis. The next step is to put it together and make this truck look like a truck. So, here's our challenge. We can only drop it straight in. That's the only way to get it in there. I think we can do that. With the intake, with all of this assembled on the top of the engine, it makes it kind of a tight fit in there, right? There's two little tabs right here and here that are supposed to go kind of right in between the holes, there and there. So, let's see. We've done this before. It has been installed on there before. It's just a bit of a trick to get it to slide in. And I believe this and this are supposed to tuck in the two little slots right here and here. That means I'm going to have to spread that apart or kind of wedge them in there like this first, but doing that makes it so that I can't really get the engine in. This is a tough one. So I can get the engine in there. Having done assembled so much, of course the back wants to go in no problem. I'm kind of understanding why they want all the fairings done separate. Because you can see this is supposed to tuck in. I need to spread this apart in order to fit that in. The fact I need to spread it apart to fit it in means I need to let the glue dry. So, assembling the two pieces is not something I'm going to be doing today because I need to spread this apart, right? And but I want my bucket to dry. The engine will get in there. Yeah, I need to spread that apart quite a bit. For it to fit. The front too. I just may wind up having to take the top of the engine off. Almost. Spreading the front apart is going to be hard to do. Piece. So one guy is resisting me. I'm almost there. I almost got it. But we're not quite there. We're in. We're in, guys. We got it. We got it. We're crooked, but we got it. Why are we crooked? Because we got to glue it down to the frame. We got to glue this down. We got a little bit of a torque twist here, but that's okay. We can deal with this. Get her tucked in nice. She kind of just clipped into place, and I think we got it right where we need it now. No more torque twist. Oh, there's still a little tiny bit. Oh, that's her tailgate falling off now. She's touching now. So, lots of spots are going to need to glue. in particular, our exhaust pipes can finally get glued down to the bottom, to the pan. There's a little pin. There's a pin underneath this pipe to go into a little hole that's right there. And that lines up absolutely perfectly. She's exactly where she needs to be. She's looking like a truck now. How about that? Okay, so we're going to do some glue, and then we're going to let it sit, and then we're going to call it a day. Okay? That's what we're going to do. Put some glue on this thing, and then what I want to do is move the tail pipes so I can get in that little spot where they're supposed to go. There. Get you in that little spot. There you go. Yeah, perfect. No, you stay there. There. So there's a whole bunch of little spots I could put glue. Where it's making contact all over the place. Lots of spots along the sides here. Up at the front. Tucks underneath the front bumper. I think that's about it, really. Just kind of checking out different spots, different angles that I see that it's touching on the frame. There we go. Okay, so that is it. Okay guys, she's glued in. We're gonna let this glue dry. We're gonna let her glue dry. Now that I got the roof all nice and polished, I don't want to scratch it up, so I'm gonna do that. I would like to put a little bit of a weight on there, maybe some paint or something, a jar of paint, anything really. Anything that's got a little bit of a weight to it, and just weigh it down, just like that. Just give it a little something to press on so it's going to stay. Doesn't have to be something heavy, but I just want to, because it's lined up really nicely, and I'm really impressed with that. Like it's lined up nice. Yes. Anyway, guys, we're going to let this dry, and I'm going to come back, and maybe next time I'll be finished. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you for watching, and please, down in the description box, you're going to see some links to my other channels. You can check out my Twitch and my Instagram, my X channel, stuff like that. I invite you guys to look at that stuff. Hit the like button down below too if you like this stuff, and don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And yeah, I guess that's going to be it. We'll let this dry for now. We'll see you all in the next one.